So we're pleased to be here today at Akwesasne at the Traveling College and continuing to do interviews like we have for the last 3-4 years. And today we're going to learn a little bit about the Roundpoint family and their involvement as stick makers here in the community and learn a little bit of history that way. So I wanted to introduce Bill Roundpoint first. And Bill, maybe you could tell us your age first and
Yeah, my name's Bill Roundpoint. I'm 59 years old now.
Great. Frank?
Yeah, I'm 58.
58 years old. And when would you guys been introduced to the game of lacrosse?
These were probably
4 years old, maybe?
4 or 3.
Yeah.
If I might have been 4, he was 3. And our older brothers, Russ and Barry, they had us out there with our other brother, Mark. He's a year older than I am. And they taught us how to pass and shoot, and they would tie cans and stuff to the net in the back, told us to shoot at it. And they told us how to pass the ball to the open guy when somebody's coming at you, like on power play, they do that triangle. Yeah. They had us, because Frank was a righty and Mark was a righty and I was a lefty. So it worked out good, and they showed us how to move the ball around and to shoot that way. And that was basically the start of it, everything.
Yeah, and after a while, they couldn't get the ball from us because we caught on pretty quick.
Yeah, they laughed because they knew how fast we were learning. Yeah. So we played Cornwall, minor lacrosse.
Yeah, grew up Cornwall, minor lacrosse. I started out as a goaltender.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played goaltender up until Bantam. And I think I was 14 maybe. And we had a team here called the Mohawks. It was coached by Ron Thomas. Bill was playing as like maybe a midget or for the junior team. And they had the goaltender before, Brian Thomas and Stanley Francis.
Yeah.
And they were a good tandem. And they graduated to senior, and the goaltenders behind them weren't really up to snuff. So they pulled me from Bantams, and I played as a 14-year-old in the junior league. And I come down, remember one time wearing, a cut-off shirt. It was in the summertime, and my arms were full of bruises. And my mother took a look at me, and she said, "You're not playing goalie anymore for the junior team."
But he could also play out real good, Because in a few years too, when we were kids, he would play out. But like he was at because of motor, he would stay at the same level, or like he'd be at the major, and I moved up to the minor in the next level, and he would play out, and he's played very good out too, so he could have played either or.
And then actually at the age of 15, they started a team called the Thunderbirds. They played against the Warriors here, and that was a good rivalry in the community. It you had fans for both. Yeah. And as a 15-year-old, I remember they were short players, so they asked me to play. So I said, okay, I'll play. And Willie Jacques was the coach. He's not a lacrosse guy, and to this day, I don't know why he was the coach. But he was on the bench, and he looked at me, he says, "I'm going to give you one shot, get out there." And my first shift, I scored.
Yeah, so they needed players, and they knew we were players, and so we went to play, and we played against men.
Yeah.
And well, here, so we survived, right? So, but there was really no junior league at that time for us to go to play in. So we played there. And a lot of other guys our age would play for the other team, the Warriors, too. So there was still that rivalry, like our age group rivalry, too, instead of us having one team.
Yeah.
And then we played, they made a team for us in the OLA Junior B team.
Yeah, called the Eagles. Yeah.
They were called the Akwesasne Eagles, and we played in the league. And we didn't have that much success, but me, him, and Mark, we were the leaders of the team.
Yeah, we led. Mark and I were tied first for scoring, and he was like 2 points behind.
Yeah, so we'd go out and play, and we'd go out and play, and I think we only won maybe 2 games that year. But it was all learning for a lot of guys who didn't play as much as we played. I'm going to say,
Yeah,
we didn't have depth.
I find, and we were a very individual team. We weren't making pick and rolls. We weren't,
Yeah.
It was a lot of individual, and we were good at doing what we were doing because we grew up playing with equipment in the backyard. Yeah. Whoever had the ball, you'd get double teamed by the other two.
And our grandmother would stand in louder and say we were crazy, because we were just beating the heck out of each other all the time.
Yeah.
It was fun though. We would go and watch our brothers play junior lacrosse in Cornwall. We'd come back and we'd be playing in the dark. We were playing. We were so excited from watching.
And the thing too was, I remember, there would be a lot of kids our age. We were running all over the place in the arena. just going there to run around
We
and
watched.
cause havoc. We sat there and watched what was
watched.
going on,
Yeah.
and that, like you said, we'd come back after the game, and like there would be a big lineup on the bridge. The bridge was a long bridge at the time. They played out of the Water Street Arena, and the horns would be blaring because
If we won, yeah.
because they beat the Rams or this and that. And
Yeah.
we'd get back and we'd emulate whoever our favorite player was, stuff like that.
So how much older were your older brothers than you guys?
3.
Barry's 3 and Russell's 4 years older.
5.
Right? 5 years?
5, yeah.
Yeah, so they both
We
played.
have a
in the-
sister, Elaine, as well.
And they all our brothers are good lacrosse players too. They're all good.
Right.
They all could play the game really well.
Yeah, your whole family.
Yeah. Our father played, and me and Frank went to St. Catharines for his induction into LA, the LA Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So we wrote the bio for him, and we got him in there. So, but I guess. I think Wallace played the longest of his brothers. Huh?
Wallace, he traveled out west. He played for North Shore back in the day. And I remember back in '95, Wayne Baker gave me a call. Would you like to come up and play? We heard some good things about you. It was actually Barry Paulus, who played for Wayne before, who gave him my name. I played against Barry when he was in Onondaga, and I used to beat on him in the brother,
Frank was pretty. Frank could let people notice him in a pretty physical way, real fast.
Yeah,
So.
I was like 6'2", 230, and I was in pretty good shape at one
And
time.
they always said, I still get those comments, oh, the referees sure know you. You know where the penalty box still is, eh, Bill?
Yeah,
Okay,
for sure.
all
yeah.
right, but we could play the game in all the ways, if we had to,
Right, yeah.
So we played D, like the old man said, he said, if you can't play both ends of the floor, don't get on the floor.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
And
what he said.
In the time when they were doing the transition offense, defense,
We were going for
I played, because of my size, I played on the crease in defense and then the crease on offense, so I was running the full length of the floor.
and I would play on the other side,
Yeah.
But I wasn't as fast as this guy, but I still got down there.
Yeah, he was good. I got a lot of opportunities scoring because I cut through the paint a lot and I wasn't 100%, but he took a lot fewer shots than me and he scored. His percentage was in the 90% when he shot.
Wow.
So maybe I shot once or twice a game. Huh?
Yeah, and he'd get 2 goals. Me, I'd shoot like 6
maybe
times
one.
and get 3. Stuff like that.
And we played with a lot of good lacrosse players.
Yeah, for sure.
Around here, but our style of lacrosse was like he said, it was like there was no system.
Right.
Nobody did the pick and roll or the motion or nothing. We didn't know that stuff.
Yeah, and I remember Jim Bishop come to watch us play one time at the Water Street Arena, and I remember he says, as long as you guys keep playing the way you're doing individual, none of you aren't going to win a national championship. And no truer words were really ever spoken.
But his speech got us. We won that game, though. Huh?
Yeah,
He spoke to us, and whatever happened, our team, the Thunderbirds, we went out there and we won the game.
Yeah.
Against a team that played a better system than us.
Yeah.
So his words were the tonic. We needed that game, but
Exactly. And then we formed a team. Lacrosse died, and then it was just the old sticks that were going at the Water Street Arena. And then was it Frankie and Ernie that started the
Thunder.
Thunder?
I think it was
Ernie, huh?
Yeah, Ernie. We did a club team
Ernie
thing,
Mitchell.
and we went to play in the President's Cup, and we were pretty unorganized.
Right.
But we managed to win 2 games in the tournament, and then the next year they made the ILA.
Yeah. And we went to the finals against Onondaga. They had a pretty strong
What
team.
year was that?
94 or 93. 93, I believe. And Onondaga ended up beating us Game 7 in the series, and they played out of an outdoor arena. And the ball, and that was small. They were used to playing in that. When we played them in the arena, we beat them hands down. But
Indoors.
But because they had the better regular season record, they had the last game at home, to their credit, and they ended up beating us in Game 7.
Yeah, they were pretty crafty.
I know
They played
that.
pretty
I know
crafty.
that outdoor box.
Yeah,
I know
right.
The dust bowl, they call it.
Yeah,
huh?
yeah.
It's like you ran in deep sands in some spots.
Yeah, and then the following year, we won the league.
Yeah,
we
we
went
won
to
it
the
all.
President's Cup. It was in Hamilton, I believe, or Brantford. It was in Brantford,
Yeah.
and
got
I think
bronze.
we won bronze medal, and Tuscarora Thunderhawks beat Burnaby in the gold medal.
And we lost to Burnaby in a double overtime.
Yeah,
game, huh?
right.
That was a tight game,
Yeah.
8-7.
Yeah,
They beat
and,
us, I remember it.
Tuscarora had a goalie who was huge. His name was Dale Henry.
Yeah,
You
he
couldn't,
was
it was
big
hard
as-
to score on him.
This is when the nets were 4x4. So this guy was 4x4. And he was a hard guy. This guy got about 2 or 3.
Yeah. What I do is I'd run by him, I'd jump in the air, and he'd go up like this, and I'd bounce it at his feet. So he never caught on to that. But I'd get knocked on my ass by the Chrysler brothers after I did that.
You paid the price, yeah.
But it was always worth it for me. I never really got into a game until I got knocked on my ass.
Yeah, just, you get your head straight after a while. Huh?
Yeah, okay.
Thanks for getting locked in now.
Exactly, so. And then the following year, I don't know what happened, but they formed the team Outlaws and the Thunder. And
So that was what year?
95.
Okay.
Because I went to the Outlaws.
He went to the Outlaws. Actually, I went to the Outlaws too, along with my buddy Tyler Sunday. We were running, and it just seemed like they weren't really committed. Some of the veterans, they were like sitting on the bench while we're training, and we just said, let's just go back to the Thunder. He stayed, I went.
Oh. Yeah, I stayed on the team.
And how old were you guys then?
95. So.
Do the math, 30s in their 30s.
Oh, you were in your 30s.
31.
That was like
31.
the first time you played
against each other.
Yeah, like that. And,
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of tension in the community about this stuff. It was a big rivalry, and people were getting too involved in it.
Right, yeah. And the brand of game I played, I always was in your face, and you had my ball and I want it back kind of thing, And I was an aggressive player, and I scored a lot.
Yeah.
And anyways, we had a player that came in. His name was Dean Ciccone. And to me, that was the best thing that could have happened to me in my career, because he showed me how to run the pick and roll, what to do when you don't have the ball, pick off ball and get loose. And I did that, and I watched him, and I did that. Him and Pete Sky was also an influence for me, because he was good at throwing a fake pick, taking a step back in the ball and burying it. So I started doing the things they were doing, and it was working,
Yeah, really nice little play.
Right, and then we end up going to, we beat them in the finals, and we went to the President's Cup. We picked up Mikey Benedict Jr. and a couple other players, and Mikey was the only one really player of the who played.
Yeah,
and we end up losing to Burnaby in the round robin, and we faced them in the final, and we end up beating them, but we were in the penalty box the first 2 periods all the time. It was so bad. The referee, that Sowen Gill, who was the CLA commissioner at the time, went into the refereeing room and told him, "You better start refereeing this game fair, or it's that obvious." This was in Prince George, British Columbia, right? And but we were still, I think we might have been a goal or 2 up after the second, but in the third, we were the only team that scored. I got 2 goals in the third, and we sealed the deal.
And that was for the Founders Cup?
President's
Cup.
Yeah. We were the first team from Akwesasne to bring the national championship.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that was on the other team. Right. That didn't go.
I heard that rivalry, there were tough times at that time, and that helped bring the community together, apparently, eventually.
You know what? Lacrosse, a lot of people say it's a creator's game,
Yes.
it's a healing game, right?
Yes.
It wasn't for me. It was a little brother of war for me. And that's the way I played it, But and people hated me for it. And
a lot of people, like our fans on ours, like on the team I played on, they didn't like him, but it's because he played so well. And that's a sign of respect. Now.
Yes.
So, I mean, we played, and, like, he won, and I'm happy for him, but I had a good season with these guys, with the team I played with. I had about maybe 15 to 20 goals in that season, a whole bunch of assists. I had to play with Mike Benedict Jr. and Owen Benedict and on the line, and I played on the first line for the first time probably in a long time, which was okay. But at the end of the day, we didn't have enough to take them down. But I mean, without us playing and pushing them as hard as we did, they probably wouldn't have been that good to use that to get to the final, to get to the championship. So, all right.
So how long did you play for? Like, how old were you when you finally hung it up?
I don't know. The last team I played for a full season probably was the Outlaws. This was, I don't know, probably 37, 38 maybe. And then I might have played the next year for somebody a couple games. And that was it. And then now I just play little masters, run around with a bunch of guys in the summer.
Yes.
Right around my age, ex-players, we play, try and go 40 and over, because
Yeah.
35 are still fat, still should be playing in the real game, you know. That's what I always would say. What are you doing out here? You should be playing the real game if you want to run as hard as you're running now.
Yeah.
Right.
I played in '98. I went out west, played for North Shore Indians. We had a good team. We had a really good team. Todd Katanchuk, Mike Meridian, Jamie Bowen, good players, you know. And Pete Sky was out there as well. I played with Pete before, so Yule Baker, stuff like that. And then we went in a playoff run, and we ended up getting beat by I think it was Victoria, Gary Gate. I
Oh,
was playing for Victoria at the time, and
Yeah.
he was a hard person to stop. You know, he just had that knack for scoring.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
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 And I seen him play one game. I don't remember if it was against us, but it was a tie game, and he cut through the middle, and he's getting knocked around like this. He just goes like this, backhand, top corner, game over. You know, it's such an incredible knack. And then I played against John Tavares. I came back here. I don't know how old I was. I was pretty old. I shouldn't have been playing.
Oh, when you had the
I
senior A
played
team,
for
major
in
team, huh?
a major series league with the Thunder. John Tavares was playing, so we played against John Grant Jr. that year. You know, there was a lot of good players in the league. You know,
Yeah.
it was good experience. And I found from senior B to senior A, the difference was what you do when you don't have the ball and how quick you can release the ball once you get it in your stick. You know, and the goalies were better for sure. Yeah, like in senior B, I could score 3-4 goals a game quite often. Senior A, I was getting 1 goal a game. You know, and I was getting a ton of chances too. Yeah.
So let me go back a little bit. Bill, how did you make your living growing up, you know, when you picked your profession that you're going to follow and that kind of thing? Like, what did you do to make your living?
Well, right now, I'm working child protection, like, you know, for families. That's what
Okay.
I went to school for that, and then I worked with kids in schools, in the school systems there. I helped out in the classrooms and that. Then I did construction. Frank's got a construction company.
Okay.
I worked for him for about 12, 13 years. And then I went back to this. That's what I'm doing now. I'm called like a representative for Akwesasne. It's like a band representative, and we work with families who have involvement with children protection agencies outside the community. These people, the people I work with, are Akwesasne people, but they don't live in Akwesasne.
I see. Yeah.
So we're just like advocates for them to make sure they get treated fairly and they understand what's happening, and we assist.
You're an advocate.
Yeah,
basically.
I'm an advocate. Yeah.
Okay.
But my father did show me how to make lacrosse sticks way back in the.
What was your dad's name?
His name was Ron Roundpoint. They called him Rooney though, and he played, but he was more known as a stick maker.
Oh yeah.
So he was my grandfather owned it.
And your grandfather's name was
Frank Roundpoint.
Frank. Yeah.
So there was Gilbert Wallace and my father Rooney, and then they had a sister named Elizabeth, or they called her Bessie. But they all worked there. I think mostly Wallace and my father made sticks. Gilbert might have worked there for a little while, but I don't think that was his true interest in work. But I could be wrong, because I know he was a partner after my grandfather passed. They owned a business, and Colin Chisholm was the other partner, I guess. That's my grandfather, Frank. There was a Danny Roundpoint. He was the owner of the Lacrosse factory with his brother.
What's the earliest fact you guys know about how it started and the different names along the way till it got back to the Roundpoints at some point?
Well, I guess they all worked in Cornwall for a guy named Joe Lally. I don't know if that was his real last name, Lally.
Lally.
Might have been Pendergast or Lally.
What year was that?
Yeah, I think it might have been in the 30s or the 40s, okay? Yeah. And my grandfather worked there with his brother Alex. And there's a lot of men from Akwesasne work there. Okay, this is my uncle Wallace Roundpoint. He's carving the handle to make a lacrosse stick using his draw knives on those draw horse.
Okay.
And they would work, and then I guess they came up with the idea that, hey, why don't we just do this ourselves? We got land, we can build a building to manufacture it.
So the building came in around what time did the
I wouldn't know. I'm going to say around the same time they started doing it over there.
The 40s or the
40s.
Yeah, probably.
40s?
Yeah, and then they just did it all after that.
Right.
And then I guess they got Colin, because Colin Chisholm was a teacher.
Yeah.
They needed somebody, an English person, right?
Yeah.
To help them with the sales and stuff and the contacts.
Yes.
Because my grandfather was a fluent Mohawk speaker.
Yes.
I don't think he could read and write either, I was told. So they had him, and he helped market and sell it. So I guess it really took off a lot in a long way. And my dad and my uncle, and maybe my uncle Gilbert, they worked in the factory. Probably my Aunt Bessie too. I believe she worked there too. But they employed a lot of people. Like I'll say 80, 90 people maybe. And
Wow.
then they would take the sticks to different homes, and the ladies would net the sticks at home because, hey, they're taking care of the kids, right?
Yep.
So they would net them. When they're done, somebody would come and get them and take them back, and they'd be a part of an order to go somewhere, right? Like you said, you guys would get sticks way out in Long Island, right? So,
Yeah.
So those are probably all part of that stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess I heard the fact that 90% of the world's lacrosse sticks came from Akwesasne or St. Regis area.
yeah. So they
It
probably
supplied the world, like England. Well, England had stick makers over there, but a lot came from here to get over there. And Australia got them, and Baltimore and Long Island and upstate New York, and
because I remember they used to put those stickers, the baccarat resin
Yes.
on it, raisin or resin.
raisin.
Yeah, they put it on there, and they said this is for a company in the States.
Yeah.
And I said, how come they put that? You put that sticker on? Well, they're selling it, and they're selling it as their brand. We're just the manufacturers. Okay, so it's a little bit of business 101 right there, right?
Yeah.
The manufacturer, the middleman, and the seller, right?
So did you both could make a stick if you had to right now? No,
No,
you would.
Frank could build you a perfect house, though.
But the stick making part wasn't.
My
You
dad,
could make-
I
you
asked
could-
him, and he showed me. And the first thing
Right.
they did, they sent me in the woods with a guy named Dawit Hops, and we went to Casaville in Quebec, and the guy was cutting trees down, and we were taking the logs and loading them in the wagon to the woods.
shag bark hickory.
And bitternut too. Huh?
Bitternut.
I think it was more bitternut than anything.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So we bring them across, and sometimes going over the train tracks, the wagon fell apart. And had to reload it. So we must have done two or three loads a day. That was it. And by then it's getting dark. And every time we got to the road to drop the logs, we ate a sandwich because it's hard work. Huh? So we did that, and then they showed me how to carve. And my father and a guy named Joe Delarmy, they're both passed away by now. They called him Safina, and I'd make a stick, and then they look at it, they grab it, they break it. They say, make another one. Well, until finally, they said, now you're getting the hang of it. And then they said the hardest part was how to sharpen the blade. Huh? They showed me how to sharpen. And then
The draw knife. You mean?
yeah, there's a technique to it. Huh?
Okay.
And there's Teddy Leaf worked there now. And Teddy Leaf's a master carver still, and he works down east for MIL, for Mark Mitchell.
Okay.
So Teddy always asked me, you make any sticks still? I said, yeah. He said, when are you going to show me them? I said, I don't know, Teddy. I don't want him to break my stick. So anyway, they taught me. I worked there for a bit. It was like kind of a program where they got money to do this, and I worked there. But then the sticks weren't really selling anymore, huh? So.
Right after 1971, 72.
Because I remember
Classic, yeah.
me and my father went to Syracuse for some kind of, I don't know what it was, the lacrosse festival. It was a lacrosse thing, and they had this thing at night, and Frank Bennett had me carving there, and Paul Gate walked in there, and he's talking to me and my father, and he seemed like a nice guy, you know?
Yes.
But my old man's eyes lit right up because he knew who he was right away. He said, you know who that is? I said, yeah, that's that Paul Gate.
Yeah.
Even the coach from SU was there, that Roy Simmons Jr. at the time.
Yes, I know.
I asked him, I said, how come you don't have more natives on your team? And he says, honestly, it's the grades. You got to have a certain grades, huh?
Right.
So I don't. So anyways, I just had to ask him that anyways.
Right.
Well, Roy Simmons Jr. and Orrin are like this.
Yeah,
They're like that. And Jimmy Brown was on their team at Syracuse.
Yeah, he was.
He played at that outdoor box you were talking about at Onondaga.
And they say there's a story that almost every year that the SU players would go play against Onondaga guys in that box. They had it for the longest times, and I guess the people treated the people from SU team pretty rotten, but they took it as a sign of respect because they were hard on them. You know what I mean? So
Here's two stories about that box that I know because I interviewed Orrin in that box at one point. First one, there used to be a big tree limb over the box, a big tree limb.
Uh-huh.
And the kids would sit on that tree limb and the game would go on right underneath them. Right? And one time the branch finally broke and they all ended up right on the field, right on the box. They fell about 10 feet, whatever. And they were fine, but that was a funny story. And then the other one was with, I think, Paulus, his dad, hip checked Jimmy Brown twice and took him down. And his dad weighed like 145 pounds. And Orrin, I just talked to Orrin about this a few weeks ago down in Baltimore, and he was telling that story how, he was great at this hip check, and he took Jimmy Brown down twice. Jimmy was built like you, 230, and 6'2", and so those are two stories that come from that box, and I know, so the Roundpoint family. Did you always know you were going to be stick makers, or how did that?
Well, they were doing that when we came along. That's what was going on.
That's what was going on.
And my grandparents had their house right beside the factory. Yeah.
Right.
And then every now and then, if you're there playing or visiting, there's these buses are there, and you see these young guys coming out. I guess there's the Man Cup was in Cornwall before. I didn't know, but the teams went there.
To get their sticks.
They took the tour, and I remember Bruce had said they had a meal in there for the two teams, the Man Cup team.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, they had the game at the Water Street, the finals at the Water Street Arena for the Man Cup. So I don't remember because I was a kid. So, but I remember the factory always being there. There's always a stick. If I wanted a stick, they would give us a stick.
Yeah, exactly. They would have sticks. It was my grandfather or my father, and I'd go in. I'd say, I don't really remember my grandfather, but we could always pick the best stick. They would pick it for us. Here, this one's the best one. Take this one.
Okay.
We were privileged like that.
Yeah, you would have been the first in North America to get the new crop.
And even my cousin Evan, he would tell me too. He said whenever we go to visit our grandmother, and my father was there all the time. My father would always go out and come in and give him a stick. He would give him a stick, and he had a whole bunch of them. He would go back to where his mother was visiting his grandmother, which would have been my grandmother was Evan's great grandmother. Okay, so he would tell me, you take the stick down. He says, Uncle Rooney gave me this. He said, you got enough of them. Take it back.
Now Evan Cree is another well-known stick maker these days, right? And how much younger than you guys is he?
I don't know, 10 years?
Maybe more. Maybe about 15 years.
And so you say he really has.
I never played on the same floor as Evan. I don't know. He's got an older brother, Garrett. I was just on my way out when he was coming in.
Yeah, they're younger than us, right. So, and they can play, but like they're good players. But Evan's really into making sticks now, and that's what he does for his work. And he says a lot of the schools in the States buy the sticks because they gift them to graduating seniors.
Yeah,
what a gift, right?
It is a great gift.
So they don't use them, but he says they're buying them. I mean, not too many people will use a stick. Like I play Masters, and a lot of guys come up to when I'm playing. I'll trade you my stick for your stick. Yeah. I said, no, never. No.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the Masters, and I'll tell you why. A lot of the people, like you said, they were kind of young. They should have been playing Senior B, but they're running around with us 50-year-olds, and they're hacking us up like. And sometimes I get a temper when I'm on the floor and I'm just looking,
Well, and that's it, and then you just got to tell them, you want to play that way, I can still probably do that too, right? And you do it, and then they'll stop, right? Usually, so.
Yeah, exactly. It's not for me. I played my style of playing for 30 years and never really had an injury. Played one game of Masters, my retina was detached, a couple of teeth were knocked out. You guys don't control your stick, man.
That's supposed to be a non-contact form of the game, right?
Yeah. So I go to work the next day and I got a shiner and I got no teeth.
I remember that. We played in a tournament together. We won the tournament, which was good.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was good, but...
At that age in your stage of your life, you don't want to have you don't want to be in that kind of physical confrontation, right?
Because we all played on concrete, right? Now your legs, your hips, and your knees, it's all the toll in your back.
Yes.
Because the guys I play with now, we play over at the arena over here, and it's got a nice turf on it. And I said, I'm only going to ever play again on turf, you know?
Right. Sure.
Because everybody's limping. Everybody's
Yeah.
limping, but we're still laughing and throwing it on. We're
For
going
me-
slow.
For me, not to, we grew up playing on the Water Street Arena. It's probably the best concrete floor, bar none, right?
Yeah,
And
the
then
atmosphere.
I never played on the turf, so when you make a cut, you do slide a little bit. You got a little bit of give, right? So I got invited to the Buffalo Bandits training camp in Sanborn, New York, after we won the President's Cup.
That was
Yeah.
what year about?
95.
95.
Okay, Les Bartley was the coach.
Yes, I know Les very well.
Yeah, Brian Hall was the captain, John Tavares, Troy Cordley, the Kilgore brothers were there. Anyways, so we're doing the drills and we're running. And, you know, I'm holding my own, in my opinion. And I made a sudden cut, and I tore the ligaments in my ankle.
Oh,
Done.
boy. Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
Les Barley had my number. He kept calling me. I'd like you to come back but the funny thing is, it was the same ankle I tore when I was playing junior. The last practice of the year, we were playing basketball as part of our, and I jumped up to get a rebound and I landed on somebody's foot and tore my ligament. And we had a game the following Saturday, had a home opener. We hadn't played yet. And I'm there, I go there in the cast, and then I took my cast off and I played. And then after that, I limped to the doctor and he refused to help me. So it was basically the same ankle that I did it again to. And it just, you know, to this day, I wish I never did that when I was a junior because I can feel it now. But yeah, that was a good experience playing, going to that camp and, you know.
So when you guys were like 4 and 5 years old, you had a big fire at the because of all the sawdust in the air and it combusted, right, or something like that.
I don't really know what happened, but
Do you remember seeing that at all, or you were too young to even?
I remember the first one was kind of like red, that barn red color.
Yeah, yes, I remember that.
And then the next one was all cinder blocks. But
So there were a couple of fires.
I think I remember that,
just
and I remember my uncle Wallace's house burning. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
But that's another time. But I wanted to tell a story about my brother Barry. Okay?
Sure.
Because Barry was an outstanding player on juniors. Russell was too, but Barry was lanky. He could run a lot with effortless. I remember we're watching the games and we're standing up top at the Water Street, and my father walks in, and who's with him is a fellow by the name of Jim Bishop.
Yeah.
He was coaching the Oshawa Green Gales at the time.
Yeah.
They went and they talked to Barry. Jim Bishop asked Barry, I want you to come and play for my team.
Right.
And Barry said, I appreciate the offer, but I want to stay and play lacrosse with my friends.
Right.
So this summer, me and Barry were golfing. We were golfing out near where I live. And I asked him that question, Barry, remember that time Jim Bishop asked you to play lacrosse? He said, yeah. I'm there. Do you regret it? He said, I do now, Bill. And that was it, you know, like he could have, who knows where that would have led him. But, and also Barry had a letter from Cornell University too. Yeah. They wanted him to go play field lacrosse, even though he's never played the game.
Yeah.
Because of what he did on the lacrosse floor.
Ned Harkness was at Cornell at that time.
Yeah.
And well, Bishop was winning 7 Minto Cups in a row. At that time,
that's like unheard of.
We played field lacrosse. We both went to General Vanier. And it was a startup program, and we were playing the New York State teams here, but we weren't considered part of the league because we weren't American, right? But we'd play exhibition games with them, and we were winning. We had a good team. So we went to the All-Ontarios as a first-year team, and we won the All-Ontarios.
Yeah. So we picked
what year was that, roughly?
81,
yeah,
82.
maybe 81. And Brian Gilmore was our coach. He had no experience coaching that, but he was a hockey guy, you know. He
was organized.
You were on hockey school.
Yeah, you're on hockey school.
He had connections to universities in the States. So we played the Ontarios. I was always good scoring in field lacrosse. It was like, who can't score on that?
6 by 6.
Yeah, exactly. It was just like, you know, getting 6, 7 goals a game and stuff like that. And I got a letter from Penn State, you know, for me to come down. I never went.
And I got asked, the guy from Holy Cross asked me if I was interested.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, I never thought like that. You know, now you look at people nowadays, they're playing everywhere. So.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when they did a clinic on how to show us how to play, I mean, Frank was on that side and I was on this side, and we're just pounding that ball in the net. And Dave White from Salmon River coach.
Yeah.
He says, "We think the Roundpoints know how to play field lacrosse already." And so they told us to get off because the long sticks couldn't even get near us. So we're already hammering the ball in the net. Huh?
We played against
So
a
we
team.
couldn't wait to get the ball.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shoot, because we shoot hard.
Yeah.
Because don't forget, we learned it from a kid being a kid up.
Exactly.
That's all we did every summer day. We play lacrosse. Play lacrosse.
Yeah, there's a saying that any decent box lacrosse can go on the field and play decent as a field lacrosse, but a decent field lacrosse can't just go in the box and play decent
true.
as
That's
a
true.
box
Because
player.
it's so different.
Tight.
It's
tight.
a different
Tighter,
system, you know.
yeah.
And that year we played a team. It was St. Lawrence High School out of Brazier Falls. They were the powerhouse in the league, and we dominated
They
them.
beat us the first game, but the next game, when we learned it quick. After that, we got them, and we never lost it.
Yeah,
Never
and their
again.
coach,
He did.
Coach Keegan, I think his name was. He was so upset. He was smacking his players around and this and that. And I'm like,
But they were more
Yeah.
too technical, where we were technical and
Right.
loose and fluid, huh?
yeah, we could see the field, you know.
We just pound that ball, huh? We get it, pound it. And
It was a different animal for me because it was so wide open, you know.
Yeah.
There was so many opportunity to do what you want to
Yeah,
do.
yeah. So, I mean, we picked it up and we had some good success at that high school where we were at. And first, we won the Ontario Championship, and then we lost in the next year in the double overtime in the finals
To Peterborough, yeah.
to another team.
Okay.
Really good.
Kenner High School, I believe they were
Yeah.
called.
And we couldn't beat the face off, man.
Kenner,
That was the game.
Yeah, it's possession, right? And
That might have been Don Barry coaching there.
I don't know. But
or-
when we went out there too, we kind of billeted with some of their players. And
Yeah.
they had Peterborough James gang was
Junior
the
A
Junior A. They were watching us play and they invited me to their camp. And
Yeah.
like my brother, I didn't go.
But
You guys like playing around here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like back then, nobody went out to play somewhere else. Nowadays, it's a real common occurrence. Where a lot of the kids might
All
go
over
to
the
Six
place.
Nations.
Yeah.
Some kids from Gunawaga are in Coquitlam
Yeah, yeah.
playing ball, and
Yeah.
they get exposure. They get to go to a D1 school, and next thing you know, they might be running in the NLL, right?
Right.
And that's and even the field lacrosse league. So I mean, lacrosse is just growing in that way. The opportunities are so great, huh?
Yeah.
And which is good. You know.
It is good. With the potential Olympics 2028,
Right,
we're
yeah.
going to find out
That'd
this
be
year.
that'd be something.
Him and
That'd
I
be something,
tried
right?
out for the Iroquois Nationals. We were playing a club team, and there were some SU players on that club team at Salmon River High School.
Okay.
So we played them on a Saturday morning. We got beat like 20-11 or something.
This guy scored a whole bunch of goals.
Scored 7 goals. And
I
got
played deep.
cut for the game.
I played
I was
D.
like,
I played long pole and I had that woody, huh? And I got stripping guys, huh? But they had some pretty
big players. Yeah.
football guys playing midfield, and they were just running guys over. Huh?
Yeah.
The guy couldn't run me over though. No, I knew he's coming, and it was a challenge, and bang, you know.
Yeah.
And I stopped him, and we both took a step back. That was it, you know. Which is, that's that little battle you like to play, huh? Like I played a physical game of lacrosse too, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, those are the experiences we had, huh? I mean, him and I played together against each other,
Yeah.
but always were, our mother always made sure that we always got along, huh? Like no matter how bad it might have gotten in the community,
Yeah.
and other people would say, you guys are brothers, we know, but we're just playing against each other. Everybody else is being
Like when it was Thunder Outlaws.
Yeah.
All my buddies were playing for the Outlaws. After the game, I'd hang out with them, and even though I was being
Yeah.
They all
thorn in their
respect,
side.
all them guys he's talking about, they all respected him.
Yeah.
Everybody respected my brother. They all respected his ability, the way he played the game, huh? Because they knew how much of a competitor he was, huh?
Yeah. Did you guys ever coach after you got done with playing?
I coached minor lacrosse.
Yeah.
And I still might, again this year, I might coach junior C in Cornwall, but it's still up in the air.
Yeah.
I get asked all the time because I got my coaching levels, huh?
Right.
So I coached field lacrosse at a high school in Williamstown, Ontario, and we had because a lot of them kids played in Cornwall, but that's kind of up in the air too. So basically, that's coaching. That'd be it, So Frank,
Yeah.
he doesn't have got to have that card to get on the
Right,
pitch,
you
huh?
got- yeah.
I got level 1. I never went for level 2.
Right.
And to me, I go to every game in the area. Like I support the junior team wholeheartedly, you know. And,
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, I see the way they play that motion offense. I'm against the motion offense. I grew up playing senior A pick and roll, you know, and it works. Pick and A, it works. You know, as long as you got two guys who know what to do, right?
Yeah.
And I find, because a lot of people are playing field before they go into the box,
Yeah.
in field, you got to avoid your defender. You got to run away from him. There's no engaging or you're going to get called, right? Whereas a pick and roll, you got to engage your defender so that the defenseman covering you is focused on you. When he gets picked, he doesn't realize, well, okay, this guy's one step ahead of me and you give him the ball.
Exactly.
That kind of
Yes.
thing, right?
Yeah.
You got to make the
That
guy.
doesn't happen in today's game, I find. I find it happens more in A, senior A, junior A. But in B, it's a lot of motion offense running around. You run a tight house, you're going to shut that down.
Right.
You know?
Right. Huh. Yeah.
And like he's saying, like to expand on that, like if you can make your defender work hard as you're working, right?
He's gonna get
third
tired.
periods, we're going against fatigue now, right?
Yeah.
So those were mistakes are really going to take place, right? Who's in better shape then? Should have a better chance. Who can think, continue to think without worrying about I'm breathing and you know.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it comes down to conditioning, so.
And I find, like you said, the conditioning aspect, because players are only playing half floor now, right? They're not as in good shape as if they were running up and down, you know? So for me, and I've talked to a good friend of mine, Wayne Baker, and we sit there watching games and we kind of, you know, they're on a power play and they lose a ball and they just run off, you know?
They don't even
How
go
come
and
they're not
compete.
pressing?
They come there competing for the ball again, you know?
You should be pressing.
Because defense starts as soon as you lose the ball, right? No matter where you lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And it can
just
go
stuff
right
like
back to offense that quick, right?
that.
So-
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, they only got a few seconds to get the ball over the
And
line. So
I guess that's because we all played full court for so long. Eh?
Exactly. I think a lot was lost in the game when they went half and half, you know. Your offensive players are on the floor more, yeah, I get it. But if they get caught on the floor, they're a liability,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So they need to learn both ends of the floor. in my
Exactly,
opinion.
because just because you're playing offense your whole life and you're trying to get on a team with a higher level, you might not be able to stay at that way you're used to. And they ask you to play on the defensive side and you're lost.
Yeah.
You might end up not being on that team, right?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
it's
That-
why it's important to know as much as you can on that, about playing both ends of that floor, the transition, everything, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Now, do you have any sons, daughters, nieces, nephews that play the game at all?
No, I have my
Really?
son. He doesn't play. No, my stepsons used to play. They're my wife's kids.
Yeah.
They played for the longest time, but they don't play anymore.
Yeah, no, me.
So,
yeah.
like what you said the other day, where the bag is getting empty for
Yeah,
lacrosse
round
players.
points for the round points.
Wow,
I'm
wow.
the last one. Yeah.
Wow. Long history with your family and all that.
Yeah, well, I mean, Bruce, our cousin Bruce's grandsons were playing, right? Trevor and Dalton, but they don't seem to play anymore.
Yeah, you know, work,
For whatever
work gets
reason.
in your way, right?
Yeah, work.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You gotta take care of your family and stuff.
Yeah.
Lacrosse doesn't really pay that much, even if you're in the pros, right?
Right.
Because
Right.
my Uncle Wallace told me a good story about that before. He says, Billy, he says, a lacrosse ball might look like a potato, but he said, no matter how long you boil it, it's still a lacrosse ball. He says, so get your ass to work. He's just telling me, you play lacrosse, but work too, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't make a living off of lacrosse back then, you know. I don't know if they can now.
No, I don't know. I don't think they can, you know. Maybe some players get, you know, but you got to be in the game for quite a while.
Yeah, just the
money.
big
But
names.
I think it's going in the right direction with Paul Rabel, what he's doing.
Yeah,
You know, with the
with the
networks and
PLL,
stuff. Yeah, and stuff like that. He's getting sponsorship, and I think I heard a comment. What he said is at one time the UFC was in the same boat as them, but now look at the money they're getting because they had somebody marketing the game, and that's what he's doing. So my hats are off to him, and I hope he succeeds.
Yeah. No, but on the Cree side, your cousin,
right.
Are there kids playing on that side?
I think Garrett's boys are playing, right?
Yeah.
Garrett's stepson was playing, but Evan's son, I don't know if he plays yet. But
Right.
so I don't know. We'll see what happens, right?
See what happens. Yeah.
Maybe they'll skip a generation and the grandkids will play, right? Who knows?
Yeah. So you know this. Did you you play other sports as well, or was lacrosse your only?
I was pretty decent. I never played competitive hockey because at the time it was kind of expensive, and my parents had gotten divorced, and we were staying with our mother. But we'd play pickup games and then play in the arena. You could skate, shoot. It's just, it's athletic hand-eye coordination, and and basketball. I was pretty decent in basketball as well.
Yeah.
I played football in high school,
Yeah.
played hockey with him. We played pickup league, whatever. But
Lacrosse.
But lacrosse was the
lacrosse was the number one, huh?
yeah.
So, I mean, that's where you put all your energy into it, because that's, for me, probably for him too, that was the game, right?
Yeah.
That was our game. And that's what we did. We were lacrosse players. We're known as lacrosse players.
Right.
Yes.
Now we're retired lacrosse players, right? So,
Yeah.
so, but I mean, that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, we were born into this. And I remember when we were little kids, they had that expo in Montreal in 67 or 68, the Man in His World,
Yeah.
the World Fair.
Yeah.
And my parents made me play lacrosse for a team in Montreal, and I didn't want to go. They said, if you don't play, you're not going to go.
Yeah.
So I played. I didn't want to play because I didn't understand French or nothing. I
Oh.
ran around, did my
Yeah.
obligation, and then me and him were running around all over the place, and I got lost.
I remember, actually, I do remember that now.
He's younger, right? But we always ran around, and they had an ice rink in the summertime, and there was a figure skater in there. I thought that was pretty amazing for a little kid. But I ended up getting lost, huh? I cried and everything. And then my mother, they took me in, we connected again, and anyway, I remember those.
Happy ending.
I had to play
Not
lacrosse.
so much after he got a spanking.
I had to play lacrosse, but I'm sure, I don't know. I believed them then. They said, if you don't play lacrosse, you're not coming.
Yeah.
So I guess it had something to do with the lacrosse factory, because my father was still very involved in
okay.
it. So, but I was just a little kid, and I didn't really didn't see it for anything else, that if I don't go, I don't get to.
Yeah.
If I don't play, I don't get to go.
That was enough of a carrot for you.
Yeah, I had to. So I played and did enjoy it. Though, to tell you the truth, I didn't know them kids, shy, didn't understand a word they were saying, but I played anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, anything else you want to say about the game?
Well, I think I've covered just about everything as far
Yeah.
as.
Yeah.
Roundpoint family will always be known worldwide as great stick makers for the sport.
Yeah.
And,
And
you know,
some
that's
decent
something to be
lacrosse
very-
players too.
And some decent players as well. And,
Yeah.
you should be very proud of your heritage, and
Yeah.
what they, your family gave to the game. Allowed a lot of people to play. So.